H2KInfosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2KInfosys supports 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus. One-time pay, lifetime access to live classes and videos. H2KInfosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For free demo class, visit h2kinfosys.com.
If the number of columns is 2, what you need to ensure is that the arguments of the test annotation method should be 2. So string username and string password. Very important. So if the number of columns is 2, that means we are actually parameterizing what the username we have defined out here and the password we have defined out here. So if the column size is equal to 2 out here, the number of arguments for the test annotation method should be also 2. So the inference is like this: number of rows is 2, that means this test annotation method will run 2 times. Number of columns is 2, it means that we are parameterizing 2 fields. One is the username field and the password field. If you want to parameterize more than 2 fields, we have to define that, and we define 3 columns then, or 4 columns. Now please remember one more thing: if the number of columns is 2, the arguments of the login procedure, which is the test annotation method, should be also 2. Okay, now we have to import the data provider annotation from the testng package, and the next thing is that the login data has the return type of object, which is a 2-dimensional object array. So we have to return this 2-dimensional object, which is represented by obj. Now this is going to do a parameterization. First time it runs, okay, so this username has to be passed out here before I tell you what I'm doing, and this password. So what happens is that this test annotation method is going to run 2 times because there are 2 rows. Each time it runs, it will take up the respective data from the first row and the second row. So first time it runs, this data is going to pass to the username parameter type, and this is passed out here. This will be typed in as kaushik@zarantech.com, and the moment it encounters this password is referenced by the parameter type password, and the value of this parameter password will be this one. So the first time it is going to run, it will going to take this particular data. Second time it is going to run, it is going to take this particular data. Okay, so let us see that first. Run this particular part. Just taking the data, username and password. Close the browser, again open up the browser. Next time it runs, it will take online training Kaushik 2@gmail.com, and the password for that, I have purposely given a wrong password for both because I don't want to indulge repeating that again. So it's saying that the number of test runs is 2 because the test annotation method has run 2 times, 0 failures and 0 skips, and this is the tab of your testng. First time it has run this particular test annotation method, it has run with this particular data. Second time the same test annotation method has run, it has taken this particular data, and it is in green color, that means both the tests are passed. Now imagine, now this is a simple parameterization procedure using your testng annotations. Okay, now understand now that if you have 10 different fields and you want to parameterize 10 different fields, so as I told you, if you want to parameterize 10 different fields, you need to have 10 different parameter types passed on inside the test annotation method. Now here I have just parameterizing 2 fields, that is the username field and the password field. Since there are 2, it is not difficult to write down 2 parameter types for the test annotation method. But tomorrow you might have 20 fields which needs to be parameterized. Then you have to give the column size as 20. Then if you are giving the 20 as the column size, you have to put 20 parameter types. You have to pass on 20 parameter types inside the test annotation method. That is really kind of difficult. It is difficult to maintain these kind of scripts. So in this kind of situations where you have innumerable fields which you need to parameterize, you cannot use this particular process that since you have 10 different fields to parameterize or 20 different fields to parameterize, you will have 20 different parameter types passed on inside your test annotation methods. In this particular case, we will use the hash table concept where you don't need to do this stuff which you are doing right now. How do I do that? So what I will do is that what I need to do is that I will comment this part. Okay, now when we are using the hash table concept, we need to understand one particular thing. The rows can be anything. You can have, for example, if I open up the Word document for you guys. So if I want to use the hash table concept, what we need to understand is that we can have in hash table we should have only one column. The number of rows can keep on increasing. Okay, so we're going to have only one column. So let's say these are two columns. One column, two rows. So each row is having only one column. So when we implement the hash table concept inside the data provider, we use the concept of only having one column in each row. And each column in each row will have the hash table. This is the first hash table. And this can be the second hash table. So each row will have only one column and each of the column will have the requisite hash tables. Okay, now in this particular procedure, there are, you're passing on column size based on number of fields that you're trying to parameterize. So if you are trying to parameterize two fields, you're passing on the column size as 2, and similarly you're passing on two parameter types inside the test annotation method. But using the hash table concept, we don't have to increase the column size. The column size will have to remain constant. So for the purpose of your hash table, the column size is constant, and that is 1. Okay, so we'll make this as 1. We'll have 2 rows, that's not a problem, and we'll do the same thing with our hash table concept. So what we are going to do is that first define for the first hash table for the first row. So hash table, we're going to create an object of the hash table h1, or let's say for the first row, right? First row f1, for example, is equal to new hash table. Change to hash table of utility package. Okay, and then we're going to put the datas. So f1, we use the put method to put the datas in key value pairs. Okay, so this will be your username. The key is your username, and the pass and the username is, this is the same username that I'm going to take. And the second part is your f1 dot put method. I'm going to put the key that is your password, and going to pass on the same password that I put out earlier. So this is the hash table for the first one. Now how many rows are there? You can have n number of rows. The column size should be 1. So in that particular column of each row, we are going to put the hash table. So this is the hash table for the first row. Now there's a orange underline, so add the arguments. So the key value pair are in the string format. The moment you do that, your orange underline goes. Similarly for the second row, I will have the second hash table. So I'm going to put this hash table for the second row. I'm going to refer this with F2. And these are the values for the second row. I'm going to copy from here. Please ensure that the keys that you put for the hash tables, when you're using the concept of hash table in your data provider notation, the key name should be same. And this value I'm going to put it up from here. So two things important for using hash table in your data provider: column size should be equal to 1, that has to be constant, and the keys that you are giving should be having the same names in all the hash tables that you are having. Now let's say you have you want to have 5 rows, that each of the row will have hash table. Then you have to create 5 hash tables objects. Right now I have 2 rows, so I am creating 2 hash table objects. And obviously if the column size is 1, because in each column you are having only 1 hash table, you can keep on putting the data for this. There is not a problem. Okay, and once we have put this, the next thing we are going to do is that push the hash table hash table 1 into the first row first column. So first row first column is defined by the obj, which is a variable of 2-dimensional object array. So I'm going to call obj first row first column will have the first hash table. The first row means 0th index, first column means 0th. So the column is going to remain as 1. Now 1 will have 0th index, equal to F1. This is 2 second hash table. This should be with F2. Sorry guys. Okay, so I'm putting the first hash table in the first row first column, and the second hash table with obj. Second hash table will be present in second row, represented by index number 1. Column size will remain at 1, so 0, equal to F2. Done. And they return the object, because the return type is 2-dimensional object for the data provider annotation method. Done. Go up, remove this, and pass on the hash table reference string type, and let this hash table be defined by F. Now these are the parts in which we are using the username and password. So how do I get the value for the key? What are the keys used? Keys are same. The name of the keys are same in all the hash tables. Please remember that. That is how you have to use hash table in data providers. So the key is, how do I get the value of the key? I have to use h.get. Oh, F. This is f.get. This is hash table. Sorry. So this will be f.get. What is the key? Key has to be put in your string format. Now what is the key? The key is username. So I'll copy the key from here, put it out here. And password. This is where you are using the password. So now you are calling the hash table concept inside the data provider. The hash table is referenced by F. So f.get and you put the key inside the string format. What is the key? Password. So what is going to happen? You're actually calling up inside the login procedure, which is the test annotation method, the hash table class reference. And this is how you're getting the values of the key. This key value will be this one. So first time this test annotation runs, this is going to run with the data provided in the first hash table. The second time the test annotation method runs, it is going to use the data present in the second row columns hash table. These are the data for it. So if I save the file and run it, so it is running for the first time with QTB at Sarantec, closing the browser. Next time it runs, it runs with online training kaushik2@gmail.com, and the respective password is given. Password is wrong, that is why it is closing the browser. But if you see that the test has passed, and we see the test ng tab, the test has passed, and these are the respective hash table sets. Username key and the password key. This is the username key and the password key. This is how we can use the hash table concept in Selenium WebDriver, and this helps out in making our life easier because the maintenance of this script will be easier. Otherwise, what is going to happen if we have to parameterize 20 different fields? We have to define the column size as 20, and we have to also have parameter types inside the test annotation method as 20. Instead of this, we use the hash table concept, which makes the maintenance of the script easier. So that's it. Thanks very much.